Hi everybody. How are all my friends doing? Everybody's been doing such a great job. I'm so proud of all of my friends. So today I'm going to read a little story. I want to talk about our names a little bit today. And we all have awesome names, and it's so fun because I feel like I've already learned everybody's names so quickly. So we all have our own very special name that somebody gave us, and it's awesome. But part of being in kindergarten is learning how to write that name correctly. And sometimes it's pretty tricky. So I have a wonderful story I'm going to read called Chrysanthemum, and it's a really great story about a little girl and her name. And then we're going to be doing a little activity together that's in your green folder that has to do with your name. Okay, so let's start by reading our story. I'm going to lean in a little closer here, called Chrysanthemum. And remember we talked about looking at the cover of our book when we're reading? Here I have a little girl, and a chrysanthemum, boys and girls, is a flower. So this must be the chrysanthemum flower. I'm guessing that's what it really looks like. And here's a little girl. So I'm going to make a prediction and a guess that based on the title Chrysanthemum and the little girl here and the flower, that maybe her name is Chrysanthemum. So let's read to find out. And I'm reading this with permission of Green Willow Books. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect, just like you guys. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. Want to know something, boys and girls? I love my name too. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. It is a cool name, isn't it? Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way to school. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school. But when Mrs. Chad took roll call, everyone giggled when they heard her name. Well, that's not very nice. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and you're named after a flower? Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The word dreadful means really bad. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half of the letters that are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing this with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now please put your head down. That's not very nice of Victoria, is it, friends? If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long, and it scarcely fits on my name tag. And I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup. Ew. And an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane, and it was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could and dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. To wilt is when a flower starts to crumble and fall apart. So that means Chrysanthemum's just getting sad now. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in the garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Judd. Now please put your head down. I cannot believe your name, said Victoria as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. This Victoria is not a good friend. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even looked like a flower and they pretended to pick and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous. And envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, I'm going to come a little closer, maybe you can't see as well. The students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable teacher. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales, then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger, and Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. So she's a flower too, just like her name, right? Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Who's humorous? asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Jo. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and she is named after a flower. My name is long, too, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Jo. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are, said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm thinking about naming her. That's right, Chrysanthemum. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Jo, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, which is another flower, said Jo. Call me Carnation, said Rita. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Now they all want their names to be flowers. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it was. And then overall, the musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria only made one mistake. She forgot all of her lines. And Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny and giggled throughout her entire dance. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and she named her Chrysanthemum. So I love that story, boys and girls. You should love your name. Your name was chosen special for you, and it makes you part of being such a special person. So this is kind of fun because you guys get to see what my real name is, but you're always going to call me Mrs. Komazinski, okay? So you should have gotten a pencil like this, and your name should be written on it, okay? If you don't have a pencil like this for some reason, maybe just an adult could write your name on something, or if your name isn't on here, they could just write it on there for you. So I'm gonna put this up here, okay? So here is my pencil with my name, which is Natalie. It's kind of long too, it's a long one. So, and you also should have somewhere a piece of paper like this. Remember we used them for Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, but you should have had another one. If you don't, not a big deal. You can just practice writing your name underneath. Or you could have an adult make one up real quick, or like I said, you could just practice writing your letters on there because you have name tags that I gave all of you. But if you do have one of these, we're gonna practice doing some cutting and gluing our name in order on the top, and then we're gonna try to write it on the bottom, okay? Because I know that most of you, I think pretty much everybody can write their name, but we have to make sure we're doing nice kindergarten type letters. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hold our scissors. Now remember, your thumb goes in the little hole, your 3 fingers go in here, and your driver takes the top. And then your thumb always goes up. I'm gonna use that helper hand again, here's that helper hand again, to hold my paper. And I'm gonna take little bites with my scissors. And I'm gonna cut my things apart nice and neat right on the black line. I'm gonna cut each one. There must be a little glue on my scissors or something. See how I'm doing nice, slow, and I'm just moving my helper hand, not my scissor hand. Because scissors are very sharp and they only cut paper. That's it. So now all my name pieces, my letter pieces are all a mess. So I'm gonna get my glue stick again. I'm gonna very carefully take my top off and just putting it up a little bit. See friends, just a touch. Remember with our glue, a little dab will do ya. So I'm gonna look at my name here and my first letter is N. So I'm gonna take my glue stick and I'm gonna go like this on my paper. That's it, can't even see it. I'm gonna wind down my glue so it doesn't make a mess. I'm gonna put the top on and listen, snap the cap. Now I know it's closed. My first letter is N, so I'm gonna find my letter N and I'm gonna glue it right above it. I'm gonna find my A. I'm gonna put that next. Next I'm looking for a T. Now I wanna make sure that I put my letter nice and neat on the line, just like I would write my name. And that it's not upside down or a mess. Now my name is very long. And if your name is very long, you can just keep going, even if you're gonna go onto your cute little pencil face. But that means I need more glue stick. That means I need more glue stick. So I'm gonna come over here, put just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna wind it down and I'm gonna snap the cap. Oh, I almost put my I upside down. Good thing I checked my work. And then my E, hopefully I have enough glue. Ta-da! So there, N-A-T-A-L-I-E, and it matches here. My last step is now I'm gonna write my name. And when we write, remember what we said, friends, the body of a good writer, sitting up nice and tall. I'll turn this down just a touch so maybe you can see it a little bit here. Maybe I'll hold it here. I wanna make sure that you can see me writing. But my thing's not cooperating. Oh, there we go. Ah, ta-da. Got it. So I'm gonna use my helper hand to hold my paper. I'm sitting up nice and tall. I'm gonna get out my pinchers. I'm gonna pinch my pencil and rest it on my other finger. Sitting up nice and tall with my helper hand. And I'm gonna start and I'm gonna write my letters nice and neat. I'm gonna try to make it look just like my middle one. If you need to, friends, if you need some more practice, you can trace that letter. So you can trace it right over the top if you need more practice. That might be helpful too. And I'm gonna try my best to make this look exactly like my middle line. Okay? Oh, I thought I had crayons, but I don't have any crayons over here. So next and last and final step, oops, let's fix this. Sorry, boys and girls. I'm going to take my paper and I can color it. I can color my eraser orange and try to stay nice and neat in the lines. Remember, friends, when you're holding a crayon, you hold it just like a pencil. And I could color this yellow if I want to. Or if you want to, you can cut it out and hang it up, or you could leave it just like this. Normally, the first thing on our paper is our name, but do we really need to put our name on here? Probably not. And last but not least, you also should have gotten one of these in your folders. This is your name book, and we're gonna work on these a little bit at a time. So today I want you to practice coloring each letter in your cover. I'm gonna use a marker, friends, because I thought I brought a box of crayons over, but I didn't. I'm gonna practice coloring each one of my letters. When you color, try your best to stay in the lines. And I'm gonna color nice and slow, and I'm gonna hold my crayons just like I would hold a pencil. Okay, boys and girls, see how I'm trying to stay in the lines? Some of my friends just do the best that you can. Okay, and I'm gonna color my whole name, then I'm gonna color the people. And remember what we said about coloring details. We're not gonna color this whole little girl yellow, right? She's probably got red hair like me maybe, and some clothes and all different things. Then you can go on and rainbow write the next page. So I'm gonna show you what, my crayons are here. I'm gonna show you how to rainbow write. Rainbow writing is super fun. So however old you are, that's how many crayons you can get. All right, so if you are 5, you're gonna use 5 different colors. If you're 4, you're gonna use 4 different colors. And if you're 6, you're gonna use 6 different colors. Because I wanna wrap up the video here, I'm just gonna do 4 colors. We'll pretend I'm 4. Okay? And you're gonna take your crayon, you're gonna hold it just like a pencil with your pinchers, and you're going to try to write your letters inside the lines without going outside. So I wanna try to stay inside these lines and not go outside. Then I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna go to my next crayon. Go top down, and I'm gonna try to do it that way. And then I'm gonna go to the next crayon. And then, oops, my crayons are rolling away. I'm gonna go to my last crayon. And that's how we rainbow write. And you're gonna do that with both of those. And then I want you to do this page, and then we're gonna stop here, okay? So every couple of days I might tell you to work on some of your name book. All right, so you have the whole alphabet here. I want you to take your pencil, and I want you to find all the letters that are in your name. So here's an A. There's an A in my name, so I'm gonna circle it. None of these, no F, no G, no. There's an L in my name, I'm gonna circle it. There's an I in my name, I'm gonna circle that. So you're gonna go through and circle all the letters that are in your name, and then nice and neat, you're gonna trace your letters. When we write letters in kindergarten, we start writing them at the top. We'll get into more of that later. But we're gonna go nice and slow, use our helper hand, use our pinchers, and write them. I want you to stop on this page. We'll do more with this next week, okay? So 3 pages of that, and you're gonna do your name. All right, friends? So that's gonna be your work for today. It's kind of a lot, and your hands might get a little tired, so you can take some breaks if you need to. All right, friends? It's always good to take wiggle breaks. All right? Let me know, like always, if you have any questions. Have a great day, friends, and make good choices. Bye, guys.